If you don't know about flyer deals on Instacart, this message is for you. Flyer deals are like strolling through your favorite store looking for deals, but you're scrolling your phone, and maybe you're in bed. Because getting delivery doesn't mean you have to miss deals like you'd get at the store, like the one creamer that doesn't make your stomach hurt, or the pasta sauce you can't not buy when it's on sale. So download the Instacart app, shop flyers, and never miss a deal on one of your favorites. Plus, get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, NmW&x, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Naomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, NmW&x, and it is Freedom Friday. This is a day that we celebrate liberation, breakthrough, and the beautiful freedom that comes from living authentically yourself. Living authentically yourself. Well, we had such a powerful week together, haven't we? But actually, we had a very powerful month. Well, let's talk about this week, though. Monday with Dr. Will, we explored on how social media impacts our relationship. And Tuesday, we dived a little deep down in digital detox and reclaiming our worth. And Wednesday with Nicole, we were about learning about the necessities of rest. And yesterday, we talked about the 4 agreements as our compass for digital wellness. Well, today, we're celebrating the freedom that comes from all of this work, the liberation of authentic connections. So before we get deeper into the topic, all right, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, the goddess, NmW&x, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the goddess, NmW&x, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnaomi.com and tell them Naomi teach you. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. All right, so before we get into the topic, let's ground ourselves in this freedom, all right? So you can find a comfortable position, and if it feels right for you, you can close your eyes. All right, now take a deep breath in. And I want you to imagine yourself completely free. Free from the need to perform. Free from comparison. Free from the pressure to be anything other than exactly who you are. Now I want you to breathe in liberation and breathe out limitation. Now, as you breathe in, I want you to feel the weight of others' people expectation lifting off your shoulders. I want you to feel the anxiety of social media and comparisons just melting away. Feel the exhaustion of constant performing that is dissolving. in this moment, I want you to know that you are enough. I want you to feel that you are enough, that you are free, that you are worthy of love exactly as you are. Now I want you to place one hand onto your heart, and I want you to say this with me. I am free to be authentically me. I am free to connect genuinely. I am free to rest when I need to. And I am free to love myself completely. Now I want you to take one more deep breath in. Smell that freedom. Now when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people. I want to take a moment just to acknowledge the journey that we've been on this week. Because freedom isn't just something that happens to us. It's something that we choose. It's something that we work toward to. It's something that we claim. So on Monday, Dr. Will, he helped us to understand that we're not victims of social media. We have the power to choose how we engage. That's freedom right there. The freedom of awareness and choice. And on Tuesday, we talked about digital detox, not as a punishment, but as a way of self-care. The freedom to step away, to reconnect with ourselves, and to remember our worth without external validation. And then Wednesday, Nicole, she reminded us that rest isn't a reward we earn. It's a requirement for our well-being. The freedom to slow down, to be human, and to honor our needs. So yesterday, when we explored the 4 agreements as a roadmap to digital freedom, freedom from taking things personal, freedom from assumptions, freedom to speak impeccably, and freedom to do our best without perfectionism. Well, today we're celebrating all of that. We're celebrating what all of this creates: the beautiful, the messy, the authentic freedom of real connections. So what does freedom look like in relationships? So let me tell you what it looked like in my own journey, because I want you to see that this isn't something perfect. It ain't Instagram worthy. It ain't an Instagram worthy transformation, but this is real. It's messy. And it's what my beautiful freedom looked like. I remember I used to create every post, every caption, every response. There's a time that I was performing as Naomi Banks instead of being Naomi Banks. What does that look like? I was performing as Naomi Banks instead of being as Naomi Banks. But I know y'all say, well, Naomi, you're using your stage name now. Yes, I do. But my stage name is a meaning of transformation for me. For me, is an example of what transformation looks like. And so I am being my authentic self. So even with being Naomi Banks, it's so funny. I want to pause for a second. I have this seminar that's coming up really soon. And it's coming up in June with Dr. Will. And that seminar is about rebirth and purpose. It's about finding your purpose or reset. And it was funny because I remember having this conversation with Dr. Will, and we were both thinking the same thing at the same time, but not knowing. And we wanted each other to help one another with this particular project. And I remember sharing it with Dr. Will, and he said, I'm already doing it. And it was like, wow. He said, yeah, I'm already doing it. He said, and I was going to ask you if you could be a part of it somehow. And so I was like, I would love to, because I was thinking about doing it on my own, but just bringing Dr. Will in. But he went on and stepped first. So him stepping first, I said, okay, well, thank you for the invite. I will definitely come in and follow and be a part of this. And in the process of thinking that, this even before I thought about us knowing who we are, our foundation of who we are. So I took each one of my names, my nicknames, my stage names, my real name, and I looked up every meaning of each one of those words. And in looking up each one of those names, I said, that's the meaning of who I am? And it is. That's how I can sit here with my chest wide and say, I am being Naomi Banks, as well as all of the other names that I had in my life, from the name that my mom and my parents given me to the nicknames that I was given, even to Goddess. They all are the definition of me, of who I am. And so when I think about freedom, when I think about me posting on social media with no makeup, some with some without, some with my contacts on, my color contact on, my clear contact, some without. Sometimes I'm polished with my words and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm stuttering. Sometimes I can pronounce the words right. Sometimes I can't. But it's the freedom to understand that this is me. And I'm good with people accepting me, and I'm good with people not. That is what my messy freedom looks like partly. It does. Even when people have questions for me, sometimes I don't have the answers. And like I said, if I don't have the answer, I will go look it up, or I will find somebody who will help you. Should help me, give me the answers to give to you. What I love about freedom is because freedom is imperfect. Freedom is imperfect in my life, and freedom is perfect online. And let me tell you about the freedom to be imperfect online. It creates a space for people to be imperfect with me. So me being imperfect, it creates a space for people to look at me like, wow, and authentic. Like, okay, she real. This ain't fake. This ain't phony. This ain't put on. And that's when the real connections can happen. I remember back not too long ago, probably about a year or two ago, I remember even in some of these connections that I used to have in a DM. And like, sometimes I be called to open up a DM. And it was quite a few times I've given a prayer in a DM. And I remember this one particular person who I was going back and forth with. I remember setting boundaries with that person, because as I was giving my authentic self to them, they claimed to give them their authentic self to me. And I want to say claim, because I don't know this person in real life. And I'm going to be honest when I say this. When I saw that person claiming to give me their authentic self, I made a choice to no longer accept that person there. But also what that taught me too is that know that everyone is not going to accept your authentic self to them. So what I learned from that interaction that I and that person had was that this is a lesson to let you know that even though you might share your authentic self with the world, all of the world is not gonna get it. You won't be everybody's stilo. Everybody don't like your type of authentic, and that's okay. But still continue to be your authentic self, because in there it's a joy. In there it gives permission to not only you but to others to be their authentic self. But also what that does, it creates real connections. Real connections. But I wanted to share that with you all because I know a lot of people say, well, if I'm being my authentic self, then they have to accept me. No, they don't. Remember when we talk about boundaries? If it no longer aligns with you, hey, yeah. Okay, I'm about to go on to something, but let's keep going on freedom. So let's talk about freedom from comparison. And it's so crazy because before I didn't do this, and I remember at a time that I struggled and I had started doing it, I had started to look at other people's success. And it was making me feel something about my failures. I went through a little stage of that, and I believe it had nothing to do with that other person. It had to do more on my worthiness of what I felt of myself and what I felt that I need to do. And so in that process, I had to stop comparing because I never compared before. But then this was a part of that journey that I was going through. Then as I sit here and think about it now, have I always did it and just never paid attention to it? I think we all do. I think we all do compare. And I think if we stop comparing and we, as Bob Proctor would say, to be influenced, to be inspired, to be encouraged, and not compare. That I can truly be happy for other people. And I can blame it on a whole lot of things and say, well, I wasn't because people were showing me this. But still, I had a choice to allow their actions to create my reaction or how I am as a person. And so maybe as I'm thinking, maybe I did, and I was just doing so many things in my life that I didn't have time to compare. But maybe I was. Well, now it got me thinking deeper with the word competition and comparison. Okay. Right now, y'all, this is a note to self. Competition and comparison. Just know this is going to be a topic down the line. I'm sorry. It's just in a thought right there just came. Because when you think, I was raised in competition. From playing basketball to running track to everything that I did, it was a competition. But for me, I thought it was a healthy competition, that you had to be better than the other person. You had to be faster, quicker. You had to be able to shoot a basketball better, dribble better, such and such, jump higher, to beat that other person out. But I believe that is where comparison starts, with competition. Yeah, that's another one. We're not gonna go down that. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole today. Let's keep going with this one. But that's a good one. We're gonna come back to that one. We gonna come back. I wrote that down on my notepad right here. Yeah, I don't know when it's gonna come, but it's gonna come. All right. All right. All right. So let's talk about the comparison though. Other people's joy doesn't mean that us being a lack of ours, okay? Other people's progress meant something about, could it mean something about your stagnation, about you being stagnant on you or your blockage? But can freedom mean understanding that someone else's blessings doesn't block yours? I remember when I was sitting at my altar some years ago, and I remember I was receiving this message, this card about celebrating others, celebrating other people's wins, being a support system for others. Because if you're celebrating someone else's blessings, know that it doesn't block yours. I believe in vibrations. I believe if you're on that celebration for your friends, for your loved ones, and what they do, you're being a cheerleader for them. That's positive vibration that comes to you. And I'm not saying do that because that's what you want, because you want something back. But I said celebrate them. Celebrate their journey. Their blessings doesn't block yours. Their journey doesn't diminish yours. And their season doesn't determine your season. One thing that I've learned with the many people lives that I've been in and that came in and out of my life versus vice versa is that I received some amazing tools from them. I have amazing stories with them. Whether good or bad, I was able to learn something from each one of those relationships. From each one of those blessings, I was able to receive something from them. Even watching their journey or being a part of their journey, it didn't diminish mine. What it did, it just added on to my journey. We add on to each other's journeys. Me being in their season, they were in my season too. But when it was time for our season to end, we continue to grow in our individual seasons. But it didn't determine how my season was going to go. If that makes sense. But also, when I stopped comparing my chapter 5 in life to someone else's chapter 20, that's when you can find freedom. That's when I found freedom to write my own story. For instance, I can't look at Ayana Van Zandt and compare my life to her life. Our journey is different. But she could be in chapter 50 and I'm only in chapter 4, 5, or 10. Her walk of her life created the wisdom that she had, just like the walk of my life created the life and the wisdom that I have, just like your walk in your life created yours. So when we start to look at each other and say, okay, well, damn, Naomi doing this, why I can't do this? Well, why you can't do it? First of all, because you're probably not even meant to do this. That's one. You need to be able to find your own voice. You can be influenced, inspired, and encouraged by others, but don't compare, because there is no comparison to one another. Again, I want to go back to a message that I received yesterday about falling in love with your life. Fall in love with your life, whether you've been on this earth for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Fall in love with the life that was given to you. Because trust and believe, there are some amazing things in your life that if you stop comparing them to others, that you will see. And you be like, damn, I'm dope as hell. My life was fantastic. I got through that shit. Excuse my language. But when we start looking at our chapters for what that chapter is today, I got a whole new book now. And in this book today, in this chapter today, it looks amazing. And I can say that with truth. Because I am no longer comparing it to anyone else. Can I aspire to be something? Yeah, but I'm not comparing. I only can be who all of my words making a definition of me is, with all of my names and my values. That's all that I can be. I can be no more, no less than who I am. And when you start to find who that is, when you use those 4 agreements, and make that a part of your foundation, then everything else will just fall in place. That's when that's when the freedom comes. And again, I am so thankful that beautiful young lady came and I was able to interview her. And she said, have you read the 4 agreements? You know, this beautiful young lady, white girl. Let me tell you about this. White girl, she was from Chicago. And I thought she was in Chicago. No, this baby was in Africa. She was in Africa, as she lives in Africa. She says she's been in Africa since 2020. And actually, she gave me an invite too. But even in that conversation, it felt so much like home for me. It felt so much like home for me. But also for her to remind me about the 4 agreements. As I shared yesterday, as I thought about it, it's so many new, beautiful, amazing things that I learned. But I had to be reminded about part of my foundation, and that's the 4 agreements. A part of your self-love, your self-discovery journey, it started off with those 4 agreements that you have given to yourself. And you got to remember to keep going back to that part of you, of your foundation, or how you are going to be with yourself and how are you going to be with others. Whatever you're doing, whether you're on social media, where you are person to person, or on the phone, or in this podcast. So as I said yesterday, if y'all hadn't went to go read that book or listen to that book on Audible, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, that I'm praying to God that I'm saying the name right. Yeah. Again, I think I'm smiling right now because I thank her for that, for just giving me and reminding me of that. And I've listened to it several different times this week while highlighting some in my book. Yeah. All right. So I want to talk about freedom from validating validation seeking. I used to check my phone when I used to post stuff and see how many people likes, if any comments, such and such and such. But to be very honest, when they say when you're building your social media, when you're doing certain things, you're supposed to be, once you post, be on there for a good 30 minutes to respond to comments or, whatever. We're building it. But I started mixing it up with, okay, they ain't like that, or I didn't see, or whatever. And it used to get to me in the beginning of this whole social media thing. And I had to let it go. And once of me doing that, searching for validation outside of me, it's different. But can I be very honest? It started with my own life. And I have to go back to the 4 agreements. I have to. I remember with the very first agreement, by using your words impeccably. And I remember a story within the book that I read about how powerful our words can be. How powerful our words can be. I remember hearing a story about this young girl who used to sing all the time and around the house, and her mom wasn't feeling good and she was irritated, and the girl was singing and mom's head was hurt. And so she yelled at the girl to stop singing and told the girl that she couldn't sing. Gave her some mean words to say about her singing. So the young lady never sung again. And when I think about that, I think about some of the words that have been spoken to me from my parents, from teachers, from all of that, that has stifled me, has made me think of myself in certain ways, as well as some words that I've said to my girls or to my loved ones or to people. And I remember calling my 2 oldest ones and apologizing to them for the words that I spoke to them. And I mean, when I said I cried, because I was like, oh my God, that was not my intention to do that, because I didn't know how powerful words were. But when you really sit and you think about it, it is. But then in that process, that allowed me to go through each one of those agreements with an open mind and to really listen. Because even in them words, it's like we're looking for a validation. And I knew where my validation came from. My validation came from an abandonment issues, knowing if I was worthy. But then when I go back and look, that wasn't abandonment that my parents were doing. They were putting me somewhere. They were right across the town to make sure that I was getting somewhere. But in my little mind, I was thinking something else. So this is where that healing of that little 7, 8-year-old, that's now that I can talk to her and help her healing process. So now she can be a better mother, a better wife, a better daughter, a better sister, a better friend, a better coach, a better mentor, a better person, a better servant to others. So now I no longer look for validation from anyone else, for nobody. When I look at my mother, she'll be 74. And I look at her now in her older age and look and remember her when she was younger, like 30, 40 years old, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. And saw how she moved in her search for validation for herself. And now she can give a flying nothing about what anybody say. And I said, I don't want to be 74 years old, still trying to prove my validation to people. And honestly, this didn't happen until my mother was diagnosed with dementia. That is when she stopped seeking validation from others. So it's funny when I think about how my life has been transformed in these past few years. They have all been gifts and tools for me. To let me know that someone else's validation is not the key to who I am. To understand those are for me, who's for me will be for me. That I can remove that mask that I have wore for years. That I can truly show up authentically me. Just be free. And me being free is me using my words impeccably. It's not taking what anyone say to me personally because it ain't about me. Not assuming anything, but anything that I'm unsure of, not being afraid to ask a question. And for me to do my very best, what my best is, not what that person might think my best is, but what my best is. No more, no less. So for me, that's freedom. Understanding all of that. Knowing what my worth is. That is not determined on how many likes or how my algorithm was approved or if this person clapped for me, if this, no. That my value isn't measured in engagements. My value isn't measured by how many friends I got. It's not. When I look around and I see the quality, not the quantity, the quality of relationships that I have with my family, with my friends that are like sisters and brothers to me. That's value. When I think about me being able to talk to someone and making a difference in their life, helping them, assisting them, inspiring them for the betterment of them. That's a part of my purpose. When I found freedom from needing others to affirm me, I found the space to affirm myself. And that's not me being arrogant. That's me looking in the mirror and say, you dope. You are that goddess. You are what you say you are. But the thing is that I'm a very humble person. And what I do, I lead everything in love. So real fast, let's talk about boundaries. Let's talk about liberation boundaries. Being free of boundaries, setting your boundaries. You know, there was something that Nicole touched on Wednesday, and I want to just go a little deeper. And it's about absolute liberation that comes from boundaries. When you set them boundaries, how free, liberating that it becomes. We talked about boundaries, I think, a few weeks ago. And a lot of times we think that boundaries are mean or whatever, but no, it's not. It's not. It's not selfish. It's not pushing anybody away. but it's letting know people who you are and what you will tolerate and what you won't. How you can communicate to me, with me, or not. But what boundaries do too is it actually shows love in action. It shows them how you honor yourselves, but also how you honor others. This is how we create space of authentic connections. So if you had to second guess about setting the boundaries for someone in your life, a relationship or whatever, don't second guess it. Set that boundary. Set that boundary with intention. And what is your intention for setting that boundary? Understand what that is. And I'm trying to remember if we talked about setting digital boundaries on Tuesday. But setting digital boundaries is a freedom. And setting it as a freedom around your phone. Remember, don't use the phone for the first hour. I think we did talk about this. Take a digital sabbath, sabbatical, whatever you want to call it. On Sundays, put your phone down. Schedule posting instead of reactive posting. In doing that, you're not limiting yourself, you're freeing yourself. And I know a lot of people say, my business works online. It's going to be there. It is going to be there. I'd rather for you to show up as your authentic self than show up performing. Especially if you are in the need of helping people. See, all of this will free you from anxiety. It will free you from pressure. It will free you from the addiction to digital validation. All of that. All right, so yesterday we talked about the 4 agreements as digital tools, right? But today I want to share how they become your way of freedom to manifest in your relationships. All right, we talk about being impeccable with your word, freedom of speech. When I commit to speaking truth with love, I'm free from the lies. I'm free from gossip. And I am free from people pleasing. I'm free to be my authentic in every conversation that I have. And you said, what does that look like, Naomi? First of all, it's free to do it. No, I was kidding. But no, how does that look like? First of all, I don't do the gossiping anymore. As I shared with y'all a few weeks ago, me and one of my aunties were on a thing, and we was like, no, we're not gossiping. We're just speaking the truth right now, because we wasn't gossiping. And the funny thing is, because she knows she don't gossip anymore. I don't talk about nobody. Regardless if they talk about me, I just don't anymore, because what is it doing for me? If anything I could do is just pray for that person. That's it. That is it. Lies? No, I ain't lying on nobody. I ain't lying on nobody, and I'm not lying to anyone. I want y'all to know my truth. I want you to know who I am. I think I've lived a lie for so long. I said in this book, no, there will be no lies. There will be nothing but truth. People pleasing? Mm-mm. No, I don't even know what that means no more. But I always leave it in truth. Even when something I don't agree with or something I want to get my point across, I will say this. I just want you to know that this comes from love. So you can know that it is not a mean spirit or anything. Because that's what I want people to know, my heart, when I'm speaking to you. I want to know how important your emotions and your feelings are to me. So no, I don't people please. And how does don't take anything personal equal freedom from others' opinions? I remember when people, words, and actions, when I thought they were about me and not them. But now I know it ain't got nothing to do with me. It's their opinion on their thought pattern, not on mine. What people think of me, I remember I used to hold that so dear to my heart, where I used to care about what people thought of me. I know who I am. I know who God created. I know who my parents created. I know what my community created with me. And as I said, I believe that I know that I am an amazing person. So I'm no longer in that prison of people pleasing and anxiety of approval seeking from others. I remember crossing into this new journey of my life with the transformation and becoming a coach. And, I was taking all these different courses and classes and passing and getting certified and doing all of these things. And I remember it was 2 different spiritual readers, 2 different ones. And they both told me the same thing. You don't need all of that. You're good enough. You don't need all of that to qualify. You're overqualified. I remember. And they never seen me before. In probably the past year, I get it. I get it. But again, that was childhood trauma of thinking that I was being abandoned because I wasn't loved. And I was loved. It was so much love there. Even in the decision to have me go stay with my grandmother during the week, that was love. But I didn't see it because I was just assuming something. And what did it do? It took me into a mental drama for over 40 something years. Damn near 50 years. Because I assumed. Ain't that something? So now I ask questions. I fill in the blanks. Back then I asked questions too. I was it had to be a why to everything, but now I really do. And it ain't that I want people to give me the answers that I want. I want them to give me truth. And you know what also I'm free from too, when I don't assume, I'm free from creating stories. Me and Dr. Will, we laugh all the time. Me and Dr. Mike too. And some of my girlfriends would be like, we just created a whole damn story of ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Because we just be assuming stuff instead of asking. Instead of asking. And the last one is we always do our best. And what that gives us, that equals to the freedom from being perfect. I know I am doing my very best. And I know my imperfect is a part of me. That's a part of my character. That is a part of my build-up. That is the spice that is in me. All of that. All of that. All right, my beautiful people. I had some more stuff to say, but we're getting close to the end of it. But what I want to say to you is about the ripple effect to our authentic connection. I want to end with that. This is what I've learned about with freedom in relationships. When you are free with yourself from performing, comparing, and people pleasing, you give other people permission to do the same. When I started showing up authentically me online, sharing my struggles with vertigo, my journey through healing, my imperfect moments, when I tell you something beautiful started to happen, it did. Other people started sharing their truth with me as well. It was something that I used to think that men are not emotional, that men don't seek help or coaching. And I can say right now, probably majority of my clients are males. And if any of my clients are listening right now, all of you all, even the new ones that just came, I applaud you. I applaud you for going beyond the stereotype type of a man, of what men and their masculinity is and what it's supposed to be for you. I applaud you for tapping into your own self-being, into your self-love for self, to become a better person for yourself and your family. I commend you. And even I'm not leaving out my beautiful women. I'm not leaving you out either. Because I thank you all too. Let me say this. Sharing your most vulnerable moments and shameful times with strangers or with other people is one of the scariest things possible that a person can do. And I commend all of my clients. And I thank you and I appreciate you, because that's a part of our relationship where trust comes in. That's trust. And you trusted me to coach you on this journey. And I'm going to tell you this, that's freedom right there. That's freedom. To say, I want better for me. I want to know what this self-love, what falling in love with yourself means. I want to know what that fall in life is. I want to be in love with my life. So I thank you all. I thank you all. And I'm going to say this, I enjoy doing the work. And I enjoy watching you all do the work. My seasoned self-lovers, my listeners here, my family here, thank you all for the emails. Thank you all for the messages. Thank you all for all of it. And I love seeing you all do the work. So it's a part of your freedom too. So as you continue on this journey of creating your freedom for your life, your peace, this is a ripple effects to others. And Dr. Will be talking what he says about the second-handed healing. That's what we do here. We didn't know it, but this is what we do here. It ain't about being perfect, because we're not perfect. But it's about being your imperfect self authentically. All right, my beautiful people. Well, I am going to leave you Because Monday we started a whole new series. Oh my God, we started a whole new series, and I am so excited for it. I am so excited for it. I know I'm scrolling through here, um, because I kind of almost went down some rabbit holes, but this month has truly been an incredible month. It's been a month of nurturing relationships, and I want y'all to remember that the work doesn't stop here. The freedom that you're claiming today is something you'll need to choose again tomorrow and a day after that. But here's the beautiful thing. It gets easier. The more you practice authentic connections, the more natural it becomes. The more that you honor your boundaries, the more people will honor them too. The more you show up as yourself, the more you attract people who love you for who you really are. Next month, we are diving into creativity and expression. And y'all, I'm excited because everything that we learned about authentic connections this month sets the foundation for our authentic creation expressions next month. So when you are free from performing, you can create from your heart. So when you are free from comparison, you can express your unique voice. And when you are free from people pleasing, you can make art that matters. My beautiful people, again, thank you. Thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate you all. All right, so you enjoy your weekend. I was going to give an assignment, but I'm not. I'll talk to y'all on Monday. Be safe out there. Send the love like always. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer. Have a good one.
If you don't know about flyer deals on Instacart, this message is for you. Flyer deals are like strolling through your favorite store looking for deals, but you're scrolling your phone and maybe you're in bed. Because getting delivery doesn't mean you have to miss deals like you'd get at the store, like the one creamer that doesn't make your stomach hurt, or the pasta sauce you can't not buy when it's on sale. So download the Instacart app, shop flyers, and never miss a deal on one of your favorites. Plus, get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes.